it addresses the problems of chunking, that is input feed, retrieval, okay, that is what you retrieve, and generation. Okay, so over the time, people realized that this plain simple RAG is not helping, and they started coming up with advanced RAG. There is another thing which is known as graph RAG. Graph RAG was also coming, it came at end of 2024, where what we do is, so these chunks, you can say that this is plain simple chunking. Plain simple chunking means, let's say you have, let's say there is a section called how to restart a server. Okay, two steps of that are in page number 1, and the other two steps are on page number 32. Okay, so page number 1 and page number 32, suppose if those cannot be chunked together, the size is so big that it is able to chunk only 20. Okay, then if you ask the question, how do I restart a server? In simple RAG, you will not get the right answer. It finds it difficult to find relative chunks. Okay, this was not performing really well. That's where people came up with the concepts of advanced RAG. Okay, now there are 29 techniques of doing advanced RAG. Okay, just understand for now that you can apply logics, or you can apply logics at multiple phases of RAG. Okay, so for example, while you are doing chunking, what you can do, you can find out the semantics of that chunk. Okay, this page is related to restart. Okay, so you can add a semantic to it, restart. Page number 32 also has a restart. So you can say page number 32 restart. So that is known as semantic chunking. You try to bring together the same semantics pages. Okay, so now you can, I think all of you can make out that if you do this way, it will be much better. And now if you ask the question on restart, doing that semantic retrieval, it will bring all the similar chunks together. Okay, similarly, this is like when you're putting in, chunks go in. Now, when you're trying to do retrieval, now in Google, right, when we do any search, you see page ranking happening. So that means it has found many things, but it tries to rank them. Similarly, we can do retrieval, okay, retrieval ranking. When you're trying to pull the information from vector store and you are getting 5, 6 relevant things, which is the most relevant? So that is known as retrieval ranking. Like this, there are 19 plus. It'll take a lot of time to go through all of them. But my idea is to explain you that typically if you do a RAG today, most likely you will not do a simple RAG. Okay, you will do one of these. You will apply this advantage. People have done this, and people have over the time figured out that this is much better. It gives much better result than a simple RAG. Okay, this document I will share. Rich, I will put it on a SharePoint, and you can read through it, or you can watch any YouTube video after this call. You'll see this chunking or these strategies being discussed if you want to go deeper into RAG. Okay, so just to show an example, traditional search chunk 1, 2, 3, simple chunks, simple division by length. Okay, if the chunk size is 100 and you have to divide 500, 5 chunks, no context awareness, right? Context enrichment or semantic search, chunking is where you try to add the context before, after, or you try to add the semantics before, after. Okay, there is also very good GitHub repo. You can open this, and this guy has explained all the various techniques in this. And if any new technique comes, he keeps updating. His name is Nihir Minhat. Okay. Again, I'm online still, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me skip this. Okay. Graph. Right. Now, again, see what happens is, and graph, you all know, right? Graph is a node of it's a relationship, right? If word A is related to word B, but if the word A is on page 1 and the word B is on page 52, they should ideally be linked together. So graph helps you build that relationship, right? I think all of you have seen graph. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen, but typically that is graph of related things. There is another code we'll have to see, but just understand for now that graph DBs are very good at building relationship. How A is related to B, how B is related to C. Then it can tell you that how C is related to D. That whole graph builds very properly. Graph DBs are used too much by hackers. Okay, they retrieve one of your information from Facebook, one from LinkedIn, and then they can correlate these things using graph. They can build a whole graph of it. Okay. So similarly, if we do RAG, okay, using graph, it will have more knowledge, more context. So what we do in GraphDB, we try to have two DBs. Vector DBs we will need because that's the actual information. And we also try to build same document we pass to knowledge graph also. Okay. Now, when you do the query, it will go to vector search, which is what we have seen so far, as well as it will go to graph search and find out all the relationships, entities along with it. Both of these combined would be fed to LLM, and people have seen this has improved results a lot. Okay. So in today's world, most people are doing graph RAG, right? Or using any of these advanced techniques. Nobody does a simple, plain, simple RAG today. Okay. There are certain advantages. Actually, I typically cover this as another session, another 30 minutes are needed. But yeah, there are the differences. What are the advantages of graph RAG? Okay. One more thing which has come up is multimodal RAG. Okay. So if you look at this now, if I do simple RAG, what will happen is this diagram, this is not a text, it's an image, right? Suppose your question was how to restart a server and you have not written any text around that. Everything is in an image. There is an image and there is marking. Press this button. Step 1, press this button. Step 2, press this button. Step 3, this light will come on. So in simple RAG, image cannot be understood in chunking. This is an image. Okay. All right. People also have sometimes videos available. The whole knowledge is in a video. So multimodal means more than one modality. Okay. All right. Where if your document has images, tables, text. Now, if you see at the bottom of it, there'll be some table, right? These graphs. Okay. There should be somewhere comparison table that you have published the result. Such kind of things, simple RAG cannot understand. It can only understand text, right? So that means your modality models mean, so we have three models, right? Image is there, a table is there, a text is there. Okay, if such combination is there and the answer is hidden in all of these, you have to combine to get an answer. That's where multimodal RAG came in. Okay, this came in almost at the end of 2024 because this needs a very strong model. Not all models are capable of doing multimodal RAG. Google was like AWS and Google were forefront in it. Google had, you know, those who track Google Next. It was somewhere in November, December. That's where they launched the Gemini Pro version, which had this capability. And Amazon also launched Amazon Nova in their year-end events. That's where that kind of model have this capability. So these work in two ways. They can figure out, separate the image, table, and text, and they can convert this image to an embedding. The architecture remains the same, what I showed, right? You have to convert to embedding and the model is able to give an answer. The another way to do is what they do is they'll take this image and they'll summarize it. What is this image all about? They'll take a table and create a summary out of it. Okay, so this summarization can be done by another model or it can be done by plain Python libraries also, various open source libraries. So once you summarize it, it becomes text. And then everything is a text, right? So there are two ways to do it. Advanced models are able to do it this way. You do not have to do anything. You just have to separate them out, push it to the model, pull the relevant embedding, and it's all the same RAG. Okay. Yeah. So these are the advancement of RAG, and as I said, if you try to do it in today's time, you will touch upon them. There are more concepts coming in. I hope I've given you, like, there is a caching concept that, what happens is sometimes it becomes very, very slow, right? Uh, the knowledge base becomes so big that the queries are slow. Then there's a graph RAG caching. There is agentic RAG as well, which we will touch upon. But this is the basic of RAG, and these are the advancements in RAG which has happened over the year. I hope this will be good enough for you to start picking up few things on LinkedIn or doing a goal around RAG, and I hope you'll be able to understand things a little better. Okay, now in today's session, what I want to do is actually I have code for multimodal RAG also, but like I think if you have understood the concepts, it's one the same thing. We can run the code for multimodal RAG. We can run the code for enhancements, right? I have all these notebooks, which are typically parts of the hands-on that I do. If we do hands-on, that's where we run them. Okay. Now I will share these links in the chat itself. Those who want to, follow GenAI very specifically. And in this session, I introduced 2, 3 good, followers. One is this guy, Lewis Walker. Okay, this guy posts a real good material around use cases. Okay, I mean, he whatever you can follow him. If he's posting something, it will be really good. Okay, and he posts only corporate use cases. It's worth following. This is the first one. Okay, I suggest you start reading Genia now with the two sessions that we have done. We are only left with agents. Agents will cover in the next session. Those are important, but I think we can say that we are roughly 50-60% done with Genia. Then there's a guy called, yeah, he is the VP of AI platform. This guy also posts very relevant use cases, very relevant issues because they work a lot with their client. So, his information is also very accurate around what are the problems, what are the issues clients are seeing. Okay. These two I recommend for use case perspective. Okay. And then there are few guys, if you're following them, there is that Ashwarya, one of other guys, I forgot the name, I think Goyal or someone. They are good at technical details. They are good at, like, what is happening, the technical architecture. I forgot. I think is Ashok Goyal. I'll post it in the same chat, or I'll post it in the WhatsApp. Those two can be. Ashwarya is again quite famous, but her posts sometimes get too technical or sometimes are too basic. But she's also good to follow if you want to follow Ashwarya. Okay. I'll one more guys there. I'll post that once I find it on our common channel. So these are the 3-4 guys you can start following now, and I think you should be able to get a lot of information, and you should be able to follow through whatever they're posting. I mean,
Gaurav, I would request share your LinkedIn profile as well, so we will follow
okay,
you.
okay, I do not post that much around this thing, but yeah, sure, I'll share my as well. All right, so I think from a session perspective, I think we are on the top of our. This is what I had. I think we were still discussing, me and Richard, that what do we do with the hands-on. We have not done the polling, and notebooks are available for all of these. Notebooks are available for fine-tuning, advanced RAG, graph RAG. I have notebooks for all of them. But I think we have to see that do I just pass on these to you, or should we do it in person? That we'll see as the CTO series keeps growing. From a session point of view, third session is where we'll enter agents. Agents again would be quite a lengthy session, but I don't want to break it into multiple. So I'll cover agents, agent architecture, and multimodal agents. So I'll do it all together in one, because I assume this group is more interested in understanding a technology and understanding a use case rather than deep diving into technology into hands-on. Okay, Richa, over to you. I'm
Yeah,
done.
thank you, Gaurav. Great session. I think we could open for the question answer if
Yes, Q&A.
you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
Bharat.
Bharat, go ahead.
Okay, Gaurav, thank you so much. Richa, thank you so much. So, Gaurav, just wanted to understand when we're talking about RAG, wherein we are customizing it for our own environment, wherein the information is not available in the public domain. So now, in this case, just wanted to understand from the compliance perspective. Let's the user or as we talked about hospital, we talked about education, we talked about other domain where the information is very, when we are capturing it for a specific purpose. So since you're working on multiple projects, so do you see any situations wherein uh, we have to go back and to going back to the drawing board to understand whether this information can be modeled, whether we have the permission to use that internal data as well?
So data usage is not a problem, Bharat. Spot on question. Where are we going to feed this data? So in case of RAG, you do not worry too much because it's your data would be in vector DB only. But there's a chance that slowly the model will start learning about it, right? Because at the end of the day, the information will pass to model and you get a response together, right? So data security, data privacy is a key concern. Company says we do not want to, we do not want to train, we do not want to do RAG with OpenAI. That's where you have two options. First option, which is being used by enterprises, big scale enterprises, is they try to do this entire thing in hyperscalers. Like they try to do everything in Azure. So your data is inside Azure, your data is protected by Azure, your model is inside Azure, your model is protected by Azure. And then they give it to you in writing that they are not going to misuse your data. Option one is that. Option two is you take an open source model Okay, you create your own DMZ, that is, you create your own covered environment, which is fully protected. Okay, in your what you can say is local data center. Okay, you take an open source model, completely download it, cut it off from the internet, and then you put things on top of it. In that case, you build the entire security stack, right? You try to close all the doors to that model. Now that you have the local copy, those are the two primary ways to protect it. But if you're doing it against a very openly available model, you are not sure where your data would go. For example, in our company, we are not allowed to use DeepSeek because we do not, we are not allowed to work anything from China. We are not allowed to use Manus. So those are the two ways you can create data security models around these things.
Sure. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much.
Okay, I will check the chat if there's anything in the chat.
Gaurav, I asked that in the chat. Like, so who are those two guys, like you mentioned, for that architecture perspective to follow?
Yeah. Not architecture specifically. Lewis Walker, if you are interested in a corporate use case, like what can I build using LLM, that Lewis Walker posts a lot of information around how companies are using LLMs. So that is Lewis Walker, first guy. And Armand Ruiz, he's a VP of Gen AI at IBM. So these two guys will not put too much architecture, but they will give you a lot of use cases. Okay, a lot of reports, Gartner reports, Bain report. So those kind of things, you will get an idea of, okay, what can I develop out of it?
Okay.
Yeah. And the last two, that Ashwarya and one more I will post. I'm not getting the link. Those two are technical. If you want to learn a technology, like you're not interested in use case, you just want to learn technology, those two are good to follow. So generally I recommend these four. Otherwise, so two to understand use cases, because most people are interested in use cases. Two to understand what is happening latest on technology front.
Okay, sure, got it. Thank you. So you can share that later with our.
Other two I'll share. Yes, yeah. Ashwarya and one more I'll share. Yeah.
Thanks, Gaurav. Okay.
Hey Gaurav, this is Sadik. So this is regarding the Graph DB. Okay, so have you done any kind of implementation using Graph DB?
Just now we are actually, we had I cannot disclose the client name, but we had done a basic RAG for it. Now we are exploring Graph RAG and trying to see how good the results can be. We are still into exploring mode. So we are using Amazon Neptune. This RAG was entirely done into AWS. So Amazon's graph model is Amazon Neptune. So we did a POC with basic questioning and we saw good results with graph. Now we have to see, can we fully do it? Because what is happening is with graph, the performance is becoming slow. It's a double query. You first go to graph, then you go to vector, which you have to anyways go to vector DB, right? For the RAG part. So the process is becoming very slow. It takes a lot of time to get the output itself. But the results are actually good. Like fully functional, it's we have not done a go live for anyone, but we are exploring that using Amazon Neptune in AWS.
Yeah, because one of the thing last week I did a solutioning for one of the construction or company, and where we are doing handling a lot of you can say documents, and in that they have different products. There was a very complex relationship, and I thought of using that option. The biggest challenge was like the cost, and it's very costly. So go for either you can say like Neo4j or something.
Neo4j.
Yeah, so they are already very costly. So that's where we got back. We will implement something which is little bit simpler, but still maybe managed by using more.
So I think, Sandeep, if you're doing now at this stage, right, I would suggest, see, models are actually very good now. I mean, if you can go for proprietary models like Anthropic or OpenAI models, they are very good. So typically, we do not recommend graph straight away. Do a normal RAG, try to see the accuracy, do the ground truth validation. Okay, if you're seeing accuracy of 80, 85, up to 90, that means you can improve your graph, improve your RAG itself with advanced RAG. I showed you the 29 advanced RAG techniques. Only if your accuracy falls below 70%, right, you're not getting the right results, right? That's where you can go for graph, right? I mean, there's no need to straight away jump to. We have seen good results with until unless your documents are really that way that you're saying that, the basic RAG has. So RAG itself is advanced RAG. I showed those 29 techniques, right? If you do one of those, semantic chunking specifically, people have seen very good results. Actually, we itself did semantic chunking first. This is because this client wants to keep on trying new things, and they have everything in AWS, so it is not going to differentiate much, right? They anyways have vector DB, they anyways have all the documents loaded into S3, so all they have to do is just do Amazon Neptune, right? So the results with basic RAG itself, when we do the ground truth validation, are in the range of 85-90% to maximum queries. We had a good feedback from the human in the loop feedback was quite good for RAG. So I suggest you can first try it. Okay, only if you see that, okay, it's not working. Chances are really less with advanced models. But yeah, if you really feel that, then you can go for graph. Graph will be cost, not just in terms of actual cost, but in cost of performance also. You'll have to then bring in more techniques like caching and all that. Yeah.
Yep. I think this is good suggestion. I think we
Yeah.
should at least try something basic plus few advanced steps. And
Mm.
if still we are facing any problem with in terms of the performance and plus the other aspect of accuracy and all, then definitely we should go.
Next
Yeah.
step can be this. Yeah.
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 Good suggestion. Thanks, Gaurav. The session was very good. Okay, I really like it. And thanks, Gaurav, Richa, for arranging. And definitely, it's adding a lot of value. From my side, I don't have a lot of depth in this technology, but I know at high level, and I try to put together all blocks as a solution. So it's helping a lot. Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Sure.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
I think I put it the link. If you don't have a question now, you can at least feedback form. You can fill if any questions or improvement you want for the further session, and maybe we can at least cover on the next session. Gaurav, that will be, I think, okay, right?
Yeah. Never a problem. Yeah, for sure.